Hi, my name is Tori. Today we're going to be doing Wet, Dry, Try from Handwriting Without Tears. Let's take a minute to see what we're going to need. First, we're going to need our Wet, Dry, Try board. We're also going to need a piece of chalk, 2 small sponges, and a little cup of water. If you don't have a little cup of water, that's okay. You can just get one of your sponges wet in the sink before we begin. Okay, take a minute to get everything that you need, and then we're going to get started. Today, we're going to learn how to write capital letter B. Before we get started, ask a grown-up to write a big letter B for you to trace, just like I did on my board. Are you ready to get started? Why don't you watch me do it first, and then we'll try it together. Does that sound like a plan? Okay, here I go. I'm going to start with my wet sponge, and I'm going to dip it in my water and give it a big squeeze so I don't make a mess. Now, capital letter B starts at the smiley face. So I'm going to put my wet sponge all the way at the top next to the smiley face. Big line down, frog jump up, right back to that smiley face. Little curve, bump. Little curve, bump. Did you notice that I made sure to bump my big line 2 times when I was writing that letter B? I'm gonna try that again with my dry sponge. Here I go. I start at the smiley face. Big line down, frog jump up, little curve, bump. Little curve, bump. Amazing. Okay, I'm gonna try it with my chalk now. Here I go. I start at the smiley face. Big line down, frog jump up, little curve, bump. Little curve, bump. How'd I do? I think it looks pretty good. Let's try it together this time. The first thing we're going to need is our wet sponge. So pick one of your sponges to get wet and dunk it in the water. Make sure you give it a big squeeze so it doesn't make a mess. Okay, here we go. Touch your wet sponge to the smiley face. Are we ready? Here we go. Big line down, frog jump up, little curve, bump. Little curve, bump. Amazing. Let's try it with our dry sponge. Touch your sponge to the smiley face. Big line down, frog jump up, little curve, bump. Little curve, bump. And now let's try it with our chalk. Touch your chalk to the smiley face. Big line down, frog jump up, little curve, bump. Little curve, bump. Amazing. Let's do it again. Get your wet sponge wet again and give it a good squeeze. Touch your sponge to the smiley corner. Big line down, frog jump up, little curve, bump. Little curve, bump. Time for our dry sponge. Touch your sponge to the smiley corner. Big line down, frog jump up, little curve, bump. Little curve, bump. And now we'll try it with our chalk. Touch your chalk to the smiley corner. Big line down, frog jump up, little curve, bump, little curve, bump. Let's do it one more time. Dip your wet sponge in the water and give it a squeeze. Here we go. Big line down, frog jump up, little curve, bump, little curve, bump. Okay, let's try it with our dry sponge. Big line down, frog jump up, little curve, bump, little curve, bump. Time for our last try with our chalk. Here we go. Big line down, frog jump up, little curve, bump, little curve, bump. Wow, it looks amazing. You did such a good job learning how to write capital letter B. See you next time.